Hello, everyone. It's the time has come around for CES 2024. Yes, it's just around the corner, and we're glad to say we're marked safe from CES. Okay, on our podcast show this week, we'll take a look at some of the new announcements and rumors that might appear at this year's CES at Las Vegas. Okay, so we expect about 130,000 visitors. Maybe. Apparently, there's 3,500 exhibitors, but it's one of the largest consumer electronic shows in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so that's mostly hosted every year in Las Vegas, but the numbers have actually dwindled over the years. Right?
I can attest to that. It's been a little bit more quiet over the years.
At the peak, it was 170,000 with over like 4,000 exhibitors. But, that's way back in 2015. But, the pandemic, never helped. It really kind of like hit the show really hard. Yeah. So, we might see some, new stuff, maybe some EVs. We're not there physically, but we're there in spirit.
Indeed.
Virtually.
Indeed.
So, Stephen, you've attended CES for many years. So, what do you expect, coming up to this show?
I think you bring up a very good point. CES is a show for consumer electronics. That's why they call it the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
Previous to that, there was a show called Comdex, which was actually a computer show.
Okay.
So Computex and CES actually ended up merging, or rather Comdex disappeared and CES took over.
Yeah.
Because the appetite for computer stuff in North America isn't that high. Overall, I mean, it's a very small percentage of the population. I mean, basically all of Computex fits inside 2 or 3 floors of the Venetian Hotel versus the entire floor of the Las Vegas Convention Center, Sands Convention Center, right?
Yeah.
So you can see that the scale and the scope for consumer electronics is actually much, much higher than for computer stuff. We will touch on it just a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think that the thrust, and I think that what people are looking forward to are the consumer-facing products like all of the fit tech, all of the AI, all of the other stuff there. So we'll try to round that out.
Let's dive straight in. And first off, there's more computer-related stuff. NVIDIA, of course, you know who NVIDIA are. They're the biggest producer of graphics card. Really high-end. They're at the top of the market. They're untouchable with their AI, accelerators, GPUs, and all that kind of stuff. Graphics cards, gaming graphics cards, all that kind of stuff, right? So there's a rumor, I think they're going to be announcing their next GeForce graphics cards, right? So it'll be named, I think, as GeForce RTX 40 series, Super Series, 40 Super Series. Okay.
So for most consumers, the 40 series launched last year, did it not?
Last year, end of 2022 was the first announcement of the high-end GeForce RTX 4090. And then they messed up with their launches for the 4080. Right? Okay. They had a 16 gig version and a 12 gig version. Apparently, the 12 gig version was a much underpowered version, and they scrapped that. They unlaunched it and then relaunched it as 4070 Ti. That's what happened the year before.
Okay.
So hopefully they won't mess up their launch this year. So they're going to be launching around about, the announcement will be around January the 8th. So that's their announcement, official announcement, apparently.
So this is good news for creators, gamers, and possibly maybe some people that are into architecture and other applications that use the NVIDIA CUDA acceleration. So it can take hours, if not minutes, off of renders and all sorts of work-related things. And it makes your games go smoother.
And I think with this GPU, they also integrated a lot of the AI stuff as well. So you'll probably see a lot of AI applications which will utilize NVIDIA's chipsets and GPUs a lot more.
And this will probably be inside new laptops they'll be launching at the show. Obviously from all the major players, and we still need details on that because they're kind of keeping it under wraps at this point. So that'll be interesting. And if that's the rumor is true, then we're definitely going to see 40 series laptop GPUs.
They will have 3 GPUs right now on the launch, apparently. GeForce RTX 4080 Super. So that's the kind of a higher end, more enthusiast kind of gaming card. Then you have the 4070 Ti Super, again, kind of mid-range, high-end. I think that's the kind of graphic card a lot of people go for because of the price range. And then the more affordable would be the GeForce RTX 4070 Super.
Now, what is the price range?
I'll give you a rough price range. Okay, so 16th of January, apparently, again, the launch will be, you get a lot of reviews published around there, 16th of Jan. This one would be the RTX 4070 Super. Okay, so this one has, I got the CUDA cores wrong. Okay, 4070 Super is the lower end.
Yep.
Well, I say lower end, but it's the lowest end of that they're going to be launching, and that has 7,168 CUDA cores. Okay, that's an extra 1,280, right? And same 12 gig RAM, GDDR6X, uses extra 25 watts of power. Okay, so the total board power is around about 225 watts. So why is that important? Because you need to make sure that your power supply can handle these new graphics cards.
25 watts over what, the previous
Previous
model?
one, yeah.
Okay, so the 4070, right?
Yeah, so originally it was about 200 watts, now it's 225. So you have to use extra power for that.
Okay.
$650.
Okay, so this is probably for most people at home who are looking at a consumer electronic show, this is higher end, much higher end stuff.
Yep.
Because $650, if you were looking at some of the Boxing Day sales, you can buy an entire laptop for that price. Yeah. Corsair was actually selling a AMD laptop that they were clearing out for like what, $650, $750, fully kitted, 15-inch screen. It was a gaming laptop, and this is way above that, right? So I don't think we're going to see these GPUs inside the laptop.
No, we won't. But for people who are like, for example, on the RTX 20 series, right, like 4 or 5 years old, then maybe it's a good upgrade. If you have already a 30 series, then there's no point upgrading to these, really, to be honest with you. 3060, 3070, 3080, it's fine. Yeah. No problem. You can use that for another like 2 to 3 years. Okay. 20 series or a 10 series, then maybe a possible upgrade.
So we got 2 more models here, and obviously you get more cores and you need more power, but and obviously they move up the ramp. What do you get? How much do you have to pay for more performance now?
All right, so the next one up is announcing 23rd of Jan. That's going to be the RTX 4070 Ti Super. That has 8,448 CUDA cores, an extra 768 CUDA cores. Comes with 16 gig of RAM. GDDR6X, that's an extra 4 gigs, right? Same power usage as 285 watts of power. That's how much the card uses. And this one is priced around about $850. Yeah.
Okay, so 200 more. So now that we've got that, obviously we get in the next one, we get more CUDA cores and we need more power. How much is that going to run?
And the higher end graphics card will be launching a week after that, and that's the RTX 4080 Super. Actually 10,240 CUDA cores, and that's an extra 512 CUDA cores. Same 16 gig of RAM. And this time power usage is about the same, 320 watts. So you notice the more CUDA cores you have, the more power usage and also that you need.
Makes sense.
So 320 watts of power, this one, for the graphics card. So make sure you have a power supply minimum around about, I would say 850 or higher. 1,000 watt would be nice. But 750 is kind of bare minimum.
Yeah.
All right. This one was priced at just under $1,000, $999.
Okay. So just so everyone's aware as well, too, NVIDIA doesn't just make graphics cards. They actually power the Nintendo Switch. That's a Tegra platform. They do a lot of other things as well, too. So even though this seems like way out there, really computer nerdy techie stuff that you may not even care about. I mean, some people might even care about total toilets and how they scan your poop even more so. This is important because this is how the company makes money to power those other devices. And in fact, they're actually inside many EVs, especially Tesla. They use their AI to actually do all the autopilot and everything like that. So this brand, even though this stuff you may never, ever buy unless you have a gaming enthusiast son or friend or whatever. Yeah, and you'll never touch.
Another thing is also for consumers in US, Canada, Western, UK as well. Count yourself lucky because these graphics cards will have the full kind of the AI, the tensor cores, the CUDA cores, everything. There's the full package, right?
Yeah.
If you were living in Asia, for example, now because of the Biden administration with their block on their AI chips and that kind of stuff, in China, for example, will have a less powered GeForce. So you won't get all the AI stuff in there. You won't get all the tensor cores. So you get a lower powered version of the GeForce cards. right?
So we're looking at a lot of black market, gray market happening over in Asia, obviously, right? Because of the fact that it's very much like how a Samsung, everyone understands Samsung because smartphones and all tablets and washer and dryers, their smartphones are actually different in Asia. Their smartphones use an Exynos processor, which is different than the ones in North America. Always benchmarking lower than the North American versions because they're missing a bunch of features and they are Samsung's own chips. So this is kind of the same thing where, in one market, they get one version of it with a certain chip. The same model over here will have a different chip, usually much more powerful, usually having all of the features. So you have a lot of people that actually purchase North American versions to take over overseas because they were just better featured. Okay, great. So we've got an update on those.
Yep.
That's actually a good way to start things off. Computer stuff is very important to overall. But I want to talk about TomTom.
Yeah.
Do you remember TomTom?
I remember them. Years ago, the old gas cars that we used to have, no electric vehicle, right? So we need to drive to town or a new city, and then I have no clue or no idea what the roads are. So I get this TomTom unit that you can buy. At the time, in British pounds now, they were like expensive, like 200 plus pounds, right? And that was like 15, 20 years ago. And that price in today's money is like $600-700. So it was just a sat nav. And I think I remember you have to download the app, the maps. It would periodically have new updates on the maps, and you have to download it and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was okay. It was quite innovative because no cars or no manufacturer had this kind of device, and the TomTom was a market leader at the time, and everybody wanted it. So I remember that. But afterwards, they kind of disappeared, right?
Well, fast forward to now.
Yeah.
TomTom was sold in gas stations, supermarkets, because of the fact that their devices were the only ones left. Like basically, you're looking at a phone book in the day and age where people have tablets, smartphones, and everything like that, and connectivity, right? So they were a dying breed at the time. Garmin and all the other players had already exited the market, were smartly exiting the market at that point. So TomTom was still around, and that was their only business at the time. And thankfully, they've gotten themselves into vehicles as the default sat nav navigation system. So they supply maps, software to like Stellantis, all sorts of different players out there to put like the default one that you never use inside the car. Right. So whatever rental vehicle that you drive that has a sat nav in it, it's probably somewhere down the line, TomTom had something to do with it. They have a lot of patents, right? So they're back in some way. And they're working with Microsoft, who actually is an old partner.
Yeah.
And they're doing an AI-powered navigation technology in partnership with Microsoft, who partially owns ChatGPT, as you were aware, OpenAI. Yeah. And they want to build something called a digital cockpit that they're going to be showing off at the show. I haven't seen a lot about it, but it's basically like everything there.
Like a head-up display kind of thing?
More
maybe?
So, it's heads up, but it's more of a AR environment.
All right.
I think would be a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
It again, surprisingly, their technology, they're going to work with it to make it more smart, to make it more intuitive.
Right.
Things that you ask your GPS to do all the time, it's going to be more seamless. So you're going to be turning up here. But sometimes when you're looking at the road, you're like, hey, there's 3 roads. Which one of these roads is it? It's like bing, bing, bing. If there's an arrow pointing to that road over there, like in your dash view, or actually in your in glass, and the glass in the automotive glass, you see that it's pointing to that. You'll never make that mistake.
So for example, when you search a particular road on your GPS or sat nav, it's just a road name, right?
It's a road name, but there's multiple roads. So let's just say that they're stacked on top of each other. Which one of these is it? Is it this driveway? Is it the next driveway? Or is it that interstate? If you jump on an interstate in the US, you're screwed for at least the next 10 miles, right?
Yeah.
So this type of virtual cockpit thing, I actually love, because if you use the windshield as an AR augmented reality thing with SatNav, what happens is that it's actually pointing to the right exit. Because sometimes when it's 2D, you don't perceive 3D.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
True.
So I think that with this new technology, with Microsoft on board, with the mapping, they're going to really have an interesting competitor to Google Maps. But the technology needs to be built into the windshields of vehicles. The question is, how are they going to make that happen? How are they going to make each vehicle, how are they going to do a retrofit even?
Yeah.
Is this going to be an interesting aftermarket consumer
would it
product?
also have, for example, you're driving down the road and you're heading to that particular name road that you set in your sat nav, but then also, I want a coffee, but there's no coffee shops around. You can't search because you can't search where you're driving, right? But then as you drive, you see like bing, coffee shop, or like maybe a grocery shop or a gas station.
If the AI works with there are sensors inside the vehicle that in most vehicles that basically, if you take your hand off the wheel, you look like you're drowsy and you're weaving around, it'll say, hey, are you okay? You've been driving for 6 hours or something like that. So if the AI works within the vehicle and recognizes that your driving behavior is a little bit off or has sensors to look at your eyes, then it can actually suggest, hey, you look like you're a little bit drowsy. You've been driving for 6 hours. Would you like a coffee shop? Here's a Starbucks below in your next exit. Please do that. That's more useful.
Yeah.
So if you want AI to work for you, it has to work for you.
So it'll probably have like cameras scanning your...
Maybe, but I'm looking at it from the perspective that if this is something that they're working as a brand new product, and again, TomTom hasn't released a new GPS device for the longest time, right? They still offer free maps for a lot of people that have the last ones that they ever built. And when I was looking at the website, it was actually a little bit broken too. So I'm like, they're running out of money.
Yeah.
They need something, right?
They need Microsoft.
So if they can come back to the market with something that retrofits into a vehicle that really makes a difference to people when they're navigating, or if it's just a bunch of sensors and the app actually in your smartphone work together,
that
would be better.
What's that app that you use? I think is it called Waze?
I use Waze, and Waze is owned by Google.
Don't they do like where they show you where the most congested traffic lane is, right?
They do, and that's part of it tells you anyway, because all the devices are connected. As you're entering an intersection, I'm already logged in saying that I'm in that intersection with 10 other Android or iOS users, right?
But doesn't it also tell you where, for example, I'm not sure in Canada, but in the UK, we still have speed cameras and speed, like, that kind of stuff. So it will tell you where those are.
Waze does that, but my built-in GPS system already does that too.
Okay.
They're already logged in a database somewhere and they tell you.
Yeah.
So that's a completely moot point because everyone has that. It's not a unique selling proposition, right? What would be unique is it tells you certain things intuitively. For example, the speed cameras are nice. It like in my car, it pings you and tells you that speed camera coming up next intersection or cop over there or whatever. That's part of the crowdsourcing, right? But if it could tell you things like intuitively that you're falling asleep, like you mentioned there with the coffee shop, but more importantly, people do turn off wrongly. They turn into a river. Like, how is that possible? If they're pointing at that thing, it's a river. Are you really going to turn into it? No.
Yeah.
Like people blindly look at a 2D map and turn. But if it's showing you on your windshield that's a river.
I saw a clip. It was one of these things that come up for the feeds.
Yeah.
And there was a guy driving. He was overtaking a truck.
Yep.
Okay. So the truck was moving slowly, so he's overtaking. But for some reason, I'm not sure who the driver was. But surely, if you were overtaken, you could see in front of you there's cars coming through.
Yeah.
But literally, I don't know, he or she, I don't know. It just didn't see the cars coming out the opposite round. He just crashed. So maybe these new navigation systems will allow you to see or tell you if there's cars coming up on the other side of the road. Right? So that you can maybe do a safe overtake, maybe?
I smell a lot of insurance and legal issues because if the GPS is wrong, if this system is wrong, they're liable.
Okay.
Right. So that's not the right application. What it should be doing is telling you that there's a double line sitting there. You shouldn't be passing at all.
Oh, okay.
You shouldn't be passing in this section. Wait another 500 meters for another passing lane. Your next pass seems like you want to pass. No problem. In the next 500 meters, there would be a passing lane coming out with a single dotted line. Then you should be passing.
That'd be good.
Right?
That'd be good.
Because you shouldn't be telling people to go into traffic like this. This is not the right application. Everyone will get sued immediately.
It will tell you where the roads will have the able to pass.
Ability to pass here in the next 500 meters. You can get around him if you want. But the rest of that equation is up to you if you smash into the car. right? It still needs to be up to the human to make that decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one other thing is that they are getting into EV services as well too. So this is one place where they could be more intuitive about that. A lot of people, when they drive an EV, the thing is, and we experienced this in our one of our episodes in the last season, is that EV chargers are harder to find for people that don't plan out their routes. So by having the AI technology integrate with your vehicle to tell you that, hey, you know what? There's hills coming up. There's a rainstorm. There's a thunderstorm, and then it's going to get really cold in this mountain pass. Chances are the AI is calculating that you're probably going to be down to 0 before you come down the other side.
Right.
So you should charge at these 2 stops. If you get past this point, you're screwed. This information is actually very useful. This is useful even for gas vehicles because the tank constantly changes the amount of fuel in there.
Yeah.
You might actually be able to go farther than you thought, right? So for being able to get the best possible efficiency, for able to get to the next charger before you need to charge, these are all really good things. And pointing out that this one has a restaurant because it's 12 o'clock, it's time to eat, right? So you might as well just go there and walk across the street and eat. So these are things that they're actually working on. This is actually one of the things that they're working with Microsoft on to make it more intuitive. And because motorcycles don't have the ability to poke at screens, you don't want that because you have to have your hands on the wheel. They do make them they still make apps for motorcycle specifically.
Yeah. I think for motorcycles, rather than on the dash of the handlebars,
you
and stuff
shouldn't
like
be
that,
looking at it.
It'll be in the helmet.
It needs to be in the helmet.
It'll be like visually or VR, AR, whatever on the helmet with the speakers on the ear, and they have a mic in there as well.
Along with whether it's safe or not to pass, because motorcycles do need to pass because they go a lot faster, right? Then they can say dotted line coming up in 500 meters or something like that. So hopefully TomTom resurrects itself in some useful sort of way. But I thought that was really interesting that TomTom announced their arrival at CES, right? Like
it's a comeback.
It's a comeback. They were dead to me because I still have a TomTom at home. They'll still give me new maps for it. I just don't know where the charger is. Whatever.
USB charge.
Yeah. Moving on to some more interesting things. Sony and LG. You had some news on that.
Yeah. I wanted to show off at the CES because LG, Sony, Samsung, they're always big brands, right? With TVs and stuff like that. We might get a tease with a future PlayStation with a Sony.
Another one?
Hardware updates.
Okay.
So you might get like little upgrades here and there.
I thought they already did one.
They did I think the PS5 Slim.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, PS5 have been around since 2017.
Yeah, along with Xbox.
That's like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So it's actually time for an upgrade, actually.
Maybe.
So remember, the hardware that they had was 6 years old. In terms of graphics, I think it was AMD chips in there, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be dated 6 years. All right. So the time for an upgrade, maybe we'll see a teaser. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
We never know. Sony says things, does things.
And also possibly updates of their robot dog.
Oh, I would like a more affordable one.
Is it called AIBO or something like that?
I would love a robot dog in my house. It would bug the snot out of my real dog.
It's not one of those things that you just put on your desk. It actually moves. You put it on the floor, it moves around.
I want it to be useful for surveillance. And to tell me where the mice are.
Yes, you can actually have it all hooked up wirelessly and also on your apps on your phone. You can actually monitor. You'll switch on the camera. You look around and stuff like that. It's almost like a surveillance kind of thing, right?
My real dog is useless. It can't even catch a mouse in my house. I know they are running around in certain spots, but he does nothing. He just basically makes friends with them. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a deal going on. But AIBO will never... It's more faithful. It'll tell me where they are so I can actually get rid of them.
And one disappointment, though, with Sony is that I remember years ago, they used to be the forefront of screen technology. I remember it was my dream to get a Trinitron TV. Remember that? They were like,
Grand Wega.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flat screen Trinitron that weighed 300 pounds.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's maybe it's cheaper now for Samsung and LG to take that kind of role, because now LG have this thing called OLED technology with the bending screens.
Yeah.
With the old projectors that you could just pull that kind of blind.
Yeah, so a completely folding rolling screen.
But it's a completely full, and with the projector you see like faded out whites and gray. This one, because it's a folding screen, the blacks are really black.
Okay.
And its contrast ratio is amazing, right?
Okay.
We'll see probably some of that being displayed, and also more affordable MLA OLED. What else? MLA micro lens array, which is inspired by like the lens of the insect eye. You know, they use biomimicry. That's the term, right? Where they take features of animals. Remember, these animals have been evolved millions of years, and because of the way that these eyes work, they're compound eyes.
Yeah,
they take that kind of biomimicry and then put it into these screens. So it's micro lens array, and it gives you 2,100 nits of brightness.
That's daylight ready. That's good.
It's amazing, right? So imagine you can have these outdoors, because you now have people having parties and meals outdoors. So you can have a screen, and you have direct sunlight. It still shows up quite bright.
But very expensive, though. I mean, an OLED TV is still twice the price of an LCD or even a micro LED TV. So good for them to try to develop it, but I'm not sure when we're going to see something that's commercially viable where people can actually buy it in mass market. I think this will probably be like a custom installation, home installation for bathroom or mirrors behind the mirror and stuff like that. I think this is going to be great because a single mirror without a back could be installable on more bathrooms.
That's true.
Right? So that'll be interesting. Oh, great.
Smart home tech. So we're going to be seeing a lot of robot vacuums, like you mentioned in the previous show.
Yeah.
There'll be refrigerators that'll do your like restock and refill, washing machines, auto wash, auto dry, that kind of stuff, and
so basically more development in these spaces that already exist. I mean, I'm still looking for a vacuum that works better than the iRobot in terms of the AI and everything like that. So who knows? Like they need a competitor that actually pushes them that does things correctly. And even refrigerators. I mean, they've been the same for so long. I think it's time for them to get bigger on the inside without taking up more space. I think that's the thing that's missing, because insulation, all of the chunkiness of the refrigerator is all insulation, right? If they can make it just thinner with more space on the inside, we wouldn't need as big of a refrigerator, and we wouldn't use as much electricity.
It's true,
right?
True.
So and because there's AI, it tells you what's going in and going out. If your fridge isn't filled to a certain capacity, it's actually less efficient.
How can I put it? People don't understand how this kind of thing will work. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys have been to any Uniqlo kind of clothing store or any of these new clothing stores. I went one, it had actually been a few years now. You can actually put all your items in the basket, whether it be socks, underwear, t-shirts, whatever, in the basket, and you put the whole damn basket into the checkout bin, and it will automatically calculate what you actually got in there.
Yeah, Amazon's stores in Seattle actually do that. That you walk right in. It's completely done by AI.
Yeah.
So AWS Cloud actually calculates and looks at everything and sees what you've got, and it's like almost 99.9% accurate. So I think this is going to be coming, but I mean, there will be theft, obviously, for the time being. They still have security guards inside to make sure that you didn't take anything. But it'll be interesting technology to see. But it's not something that LG or Sony are doing. It's actually Amazon that's doing all the back end. In fact, in two of the stadiums for sports in Canada, I think it's the Rogers Arena and now coming to BC Place, they're going to be putting in Amazon AWS stores to charge you for your beer, your hot dogs, and everything like that at the concession. So you just walk in and walk out.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? I hate queuing. So that'll probably be best.
Yeah, walk in, walk out. You just grab your hot dog, grab whatever, you walk straight out. It'll be a pilot store. It'll be, you need to have an Amazon account
True.
or a credit card that's already registered with the systems. I'm not sure how that works yet.
All right.
Great. So where there's LG and Sony, there's obviously Samsung. And right now, Samsung probably will have more of the same stuff that LG has, because every year they have the same stuff. They try and the two Korean brothers, they try to match up against each other's. It's like like I don't know who the competitor is to BTS, but there's got to be some other band that's like BTS's rival.
Right.
So Samsung's the rival, and obviously they're gonna have bespoke fridges, new stuff, robot back. They're gonna have all the same stuff, but I think most people expect Samsung to do something with their phones.
Yeah,
now,
phones.
in past CESs, they did launch the Fan Edition once or twice. Then they make announcements either beginning or after CES. And they're going to do the same thing this year. They're going to launch a new series of phones, the S24 series, rumored to be after CES. Around January 17th is when they're going to do the Samsung Unpacked event, which will which will go after the show. Things are a little bit less leaky than Google, but we're going to see the return of the 100x space zoom back in the Ultra.
100 times zoom.
Yep. So it was a feature that was in the S21. I'm going to say, I can't remember, but the 100x space zoom is your peeping Tom camera. It's image stabilized and everything like that, and it's coming back. It's going to be bringing in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for all models in US and Canada. And we mentioned earlier that in certain markets, different chips will be available. The only device that's going to get nerfed is going to be the lower end S24, which is going to have an Exynos 2400 chip inside. Okay. So for the top two models, you get the top end chip from Snapdragon Qualcomm.
So that Gen 3 is the newest one, right?
Gen 3 is the newest one. Okay. So Android 14 and One UI 6.1 will be out of the box. Every year, One UI gets better. So I have to say that even though I've had the Samsung device and we used to rag on One UI for being bloated and whatnot, it's actually gotten a lot better, especially if you have Samsung tags, Samsung devices in your home. It works really, really well.
So with your existing Flip, you got a Z Flip, right? Can you upgrade to the new OS as well?
Yeah, it's in the pipeline.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about next, which is, will Samsung match Google's 7-year Trust Me Bro updates? Right now, Samsung was the first to come out with 4-year updates. They were the first to do that before Samsung said something about their 7-year. So it remains to see whether or not Samsung will do longer updates. Maybe they do it to 5 years. Who knows? I think 4 or 5 years is way too long for most phones anyways, because the technology just it gets passed by and they need more horsepower, right? So we'll have to remain and see what happens, right? But S24 is coming, similar design to the S23, but even less bumpy.
As in more round edges?
No, less bumpy because the camera bump sticks out too much.
Sticks out. Okay.
So less bumpy. Will there be amazing trading offers? That's what I'm looking for, because I've had my hip Flip for a while. I like it. It's a great phone and everything like that. But when I started playing with my Google 7a, I kind of missed that form factor. I don't know if I want an Ultra. I think I want something smaller. Maybe the S23.
Yeah, Ultra's a bit big with the pen, right? You get the pen with it. Okay.
So I don't want the pen. Maybe S23 Plus. Probably not the S24 because it's nerfed with the Exynos processor. And it depends on what kind of trade they give me for that as well too. Probably don't need a new watch because I have the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, which they never replaced when they launched the Watch 6. So maybe this year I either get a new Flip or I get something that's more conventional. Who knows? But yeah, after the show, we will talk about it in a Samsung Unpacked show coming after whenever they do that thing.
I need a new phone. My iPhone 13 is fine. It works fine. iPhone 13 Pro. But I'm after an Android phone, I think, because I'm not going to get a 15 because 15 just sucks. It's the same as a 14. So what's the point, right?
Yeah.
So I need an iPhone. I need an Android phone with some good AI, right? For photos and videos and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen your photos. They look amazing. So yeah, I need one of those.
Well, let's take a couple minutes to talk to the 10% of the population about computer stuff. You've got some updates from Intel and AMD? Yeah,
Intel and AMD is going to be there because, of course, being American companies, they have to be there with lots of their new stuff. They will see some new chips from Intel, right? So laptops with the new Core Ultra, right? So they used to be called Intel Core I, this, I, that, right? So i3, i5, i7, i9 is the highest one now. They're going to scrap that and they're going to call it Intel Core Ultra. So maybe Ultra 3, Ultra 5, Ultra 7, whatever. They're going to be calling the Ultra series.
Okay.
Right?
So this is going to be under Intel EVO, right?
No, EVO is for something else. That's more energy efficient kind of laptops, kind of less processor kind of.
So these laptop processors have nothing to do with EVO.
No, they may be EVO kind of certified.
Okay.
But they're not EVO chips, no.
But wait, Intel EVO isn't about chips.
No, it's about their platform.
Right. So do you think, like, are these not laptop chips?
These are laptop chips, yeah. Yeah, because
Okay.
normally Intel release their laptop chips before their desktop processors. So these ones will have new neural processing units, they call them.
So Intel Evo 2.
Yeah, but they don't call it that though.
Anyway, continue.
So the new chips will be called Ultra. Yeah, this nice term. Everybody uses it. Apple uses it, Ultra, right? And Samsung, Ultra. So Intel Core Ultra, they're going to call it, right? And we also might have a glimpse of their Meteor Lake. So these are desktop processors now, right? So they always add the lake at the end. So like Raptor Lake and KB Lake and Alder Lake, right? So this one is the next 15th gen.
Okay.
Right? And it's going to be called Meteor Lake, right? And it's going to be, again, with new processors, might have new NPUs in there, neural processing. Why do you need neural processing? It basically is the AI part of the chips. They're going to integrate AI stuff in there, right? But apart from that, we probably won't see any of these new chips, Meteor Lakes at CES. They announce it or they might leak some, but it's going to be probably in Computex. We might see them in Computex though.
We call that a paper launch. Now, speaking of paper launches, AMD has a paper launch.
AMDs will have the new Ryzen 8000 series mobile processors. So again, a lot of these chips manufacturers, they release their mobile processors first because then it's... I think the processor for mobile laptops is going to be more I don't know. I think it's going to be more beneficial for them because a lot of people use laptops for work.
Well, it is CES. CES is a consumer electronics show, so most people use laptops and they're less about DIY. So it makes a lot of sense.
So we're going to see those new Ryzen 8000 series processors for that. Probably more energy efficient. They'll probably have more AI stuff in there as well. There's going to be the Z1 and the Z1 Extreme, those chips, AMD, are found in the Ally, the ROG Ally.
Yep. Yeah,
right.
That suffers from some battery issues, though.
Right. Handheld computers. Now we'll see quite a few of those in the CES. We see Dell has one now, HP has one now. So we're going to see a lot of handheld PCs,
so, like a Steam Deck.
Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and we're going to see AMD chips in there because right now they're the only ones that does it correctly.
Yeah, but none of them beat the Nintendo Switch for battery life at all, and playability and game library and everything like that. It's kind of a strange category, but yeah, okay. Well, it's good that they have new chips with better battery life and performance. But moving on, I think one of the things that's going to be huge is AI, ChatGPT, and smart home stuff integration. What do you got on that?
I mentioned earlier, of course, we're going to see a lot of AI integrated in the smart home devices, robot vacuums now, of course, refrigerators, washing machines, fitness tech. We're going to see a lot of AI in there now because we've seen some, like I said, I think Peloton and a few other brands, they're going to integrate AI in there. They'll work out basically your fitness program or regime where you can actually say, for example, if you want to lose weight, how much weight you need to lose to be healthy, not like really starve yourself. They can formulate a diet for you and things like that. For example, if you want to go to the gym and bulk up, then you'll need a particular diet. It's not just going to the gym and work out because you're going to have the correct diet as well. So then go work all that kind of stuff out based on the person because each person's different. Right, so we're going to see a lot of that. Then we're going to see a lot of AI plugins. Right, plugins. What plugins? Plugins are extra kind of software or add-ons that you can put into or install and download where it will improve or have better features. Such as, for example, you used one last year with the, or this year, in fact, for the Premiere, where you can take a film footage where you can crop them and then having different audio sources and then create basically a podcast where it auto cuts your screen switching.
Yes, I can't remember what it's called. Something
Autopod.
Autopod AI. Something AI.
So that's just that one particular application. There could be hundreds of different applications where you can have set kind of templates and things like that. You just press one button and it'll auto do everything for you, right? For example, you could take a photo and there's like lamppost beams at the back. You want to get rid of them. So AI will take those images, remove the lamppost, and have a different background in there with one click of a button. So we're going to see a lot of tools like that for Photoshop, Premiere, and other editing software. And that's just photo stuff and video stuff. There's also sound and audio software, which it automatically remove background noise and stuff like that. Or if you have an airplane that goes past, you want to get rid of that.
At CES, these are the booths I basically skip because there's no hardware and I'm not too interested in that. We usually find out more about these integrations at their conferences, like Adobe Max in LA, which happens later, and also NAB, which is a later show sometime in April, which is about this type of technology. You know, like again, these companies tend to show at every show in some capacity, but those are the shows that they will go hardcore on. So speaking of AI and stuff like that, Ring's flying surveillance drone should be coming out maybe this year.
It was the Ring, the Bell device, the Bell.
The Ring is a division of Amazon, and the Ring device that most people were like, it's either creepy or they want it, is definitely that surveillance drone that flies around your house and surveys it, checks your doors and everything like that, and flies back to its docking station and docks. This is something I actually want in my home. I don't give a crap what people say about privacy. I want to know if mice are where they are, because it detects the movement in my house, or if someone is at my door, I need to know that, and I need to call the cops on them right away. Because if you're not at home all the time, this can be at home.
Because it's great because using infrared, because everybody, living creatures emit infrared, right? So whether it's a mice or an intruder, it will detect that infrared signature.
I'm not sure if that's how it works. I think it needs to map your home first before it does any of that. So in daylight, it needs to map your home. And then after that, it'll fly a predetermined flight path so it doesn't bump into stuff. But it will do obstacle avoidance as well too. It's a small drone that unfolds and folds, which is really neat. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they actually do launch this. Because Amazon's been to CES a couple times in the year before CES. They do Amazon reInvent, which was last month. And that's when they announce all of the AI stuff to all the organizations, like basically a high level kind of think tank where all these companies use their AI, like the apps that you're talking about, inside the cloud to process this information, right? So that's what that event is about. So there are bigger events. Usually we see the finished product at CES. The other thing is whether or not this flying drone will even be Matter compatible. I don't know. Will Apple HomeKit be able to use it? I'm not sure, right? So Matter is that standard that was announced much more prevalently last year, where it ties all of the smart home device ecosystem together, like Alexa, Google, and also HomeKit, to make all the things that you manufacture interoperable with every single ecosystem. So if I bought a smart light bulb, I should be able to use this light bulb with any of these ecosystems because it's Matter compatible. And even in cases where these devices are not, you can actually buy a Matter Hub. The Matter Hub will translate all the calls back into HomeKit, back into Google, back into Alexa.
Right now, I get frustrated because if I go into my room, I say, "Hey Google," and then I go into my living room, I say, "Hey Alexa." This
is going to make everything work better together. They just need better marketing, and I hope they come up with some sort of a campaign next year to better recognize this, because I think a lot of people worked very hard on this. I know the consumers want it, but everyone still kind of wants to play in their own silos. Like Apple is very, 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 how should I say, selfish about that. Google wants to play with everyone. And Alexa, well, they're clearly the best right now. They don't need to play with everyone, but they do. So fitness companies, will they capitalize on Apple's watch band? I think so. I think Garmin and all the other brands are going to get in there. Garmin watches, to be perfectly honest, are much, much better than any smartwatch brand.
I have a friend who uses Garmin, but he's mostly sports.
It's $1,000 watch, and it's worth it because it's built that way, right? The thing can fall off a cliff and like still survive. And I mean, these things are built well. So I want to see what happens in the wake of this watch band. Will Samsung bring out a Watch 6 Pro at the same time? Because they've already got that in the timeline. They've already got that in the pipe. Will they bring it out on at the same time as the S24? Hey, you know what? If they do that and they want to offer me a trade for this at a very good price.
Does it have a heartbeat monitor?
Yeah.
So why the hell is Apple not paying the patents for the heartbeat?
Because they're predatory, and they hope that this company Massimo will go away.
I mean, they're $3 trillion company. Come on, just pay up.
It's already done. They won't win because Apple's already gone and taken the products off the shelf because they know they done something wrong. They know they did wrong. They had meetings, documented meetings. This is not cool.
That's not cool,
Tim. Not cool. And the reason why this has gone so far is because Massimo is a California company. Apple is also a California company. Yeah. So when US versus US happens, usually, and it's gone up to the presidential
Supreme Court.
It's gone up to the president.
Oh, yeah.
He's deciding on it whether or not to do stuff. The ban will stick right now. Yeah. And we don't know what's going to happen. So stay tuned. We already talked about fitness tech. There's going to be a lot of stuff out there related to the watch band, etc. Hopefully, some products will come out that will really help all the other watch companies out there, Samsung included. But I'm seeing great things for Suunto. I'm seeing great things for Garmin because they make amazing fitness watches.
Oh yeah, they do.
They make the best ones out there. I mean, this is a toy compared to all the stuff that they do. I actually want a Garmin watch for running only.
Yeah, Garmin makes a really good outdoor watches. Like for example, like do the waypoints and the GPS and mapping and
I don't care about my notifications. I just want to watch sometimes.
Oh yeah, it does that as well. And it's like, of course, you can swim in with it. It's like fully waterproof. They're not like, oh, water resistant. No, they're fully waterproof. You can swim in it. You can do all sorts of things with it.
Love it. So fitness tech, we're gonna have a whole episode devoted to some of the categories there. Not everything, but it's more geared, targeted towards your New Year's goals. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, EV is going to be a huge category as it was. It grew year over year over the last couple CES.
Is CES a EV show now?
CES is basically an EV show. CES is an EV show for many purposes. For example, you have infrastructure, you have software. One of the software companies that's actually Taiwanese, Nudo, they actually help parking lot operators monetize their charging stations. You can even install charging stations inside private lots and have people come there, and they will actually allow you to charge those people and make sure that charging times are done. There's idle charges, opportunity charging, whatever. You can actually configure that. I know that a couple of the malls in the interior of BC, Kelowna is one place. Orchard Park, the name doesn't matter, but that particular mall has like 12 of these chargers. They're powered by Nudo technology, which is a great way to get people to come to your mall.
So if you charge there and you go over your time, for example,
there will be an idle charge.
Time limit? Oh, idle charge. Okay.
Yeah. So you can program that all in. After a certain percentage, you can charge them. So we're going to see chargers from like places like, for example, even motherboard companies are coming out with things like MSI. They're doing chargers. Gigabyte is doing chargers. Things like that are absolutely, completely crazy that these other consumer electronics companies are getting in on the charger game, right? So chargers will be one of the things that we are going to be absolutely there's going to be an inundated amount of them at the show. But let's talk about the big brands here. So let's talk about Honda. So as we know, Honda failed at kind of solidifying their partnership with GM on their Ultium platform. The Ultium platform is basically GM's EV battery platform that powers all their devices. It's using a flat pack that allows you to put more batteries in a tighter space. And unfortunately, the Prologue would be their last kick at the can together, which is a rebadged Blazer EV. So if they act the way that they are right now, which is to kind of come up with a platform to take on, this is a new platform that they're coming out with, and they're getting serious about it because they worked with GM. They figured out that that's not going to work for some reason. They can kill Toyota, who's hopelessly spinning their wheels, staying in hybrid, which is what their competency is. They were one of the first to bring that out. They're really good at it, but they are using announcements, paper launches about solid state batteries to kind of keep people waiting. Right? That technology has been promised for the last, decade?
Yeah, it's true.
And they're not going to do it. So Honda, being the other brand in Japan, they've already got the E-Up, which is a little tiny
it's
EV.
like a EV, is it a two-seater?
It's a commuter two-seater.
Two-seater.
Two-seater, it's small, but it's a city car, right?
Yeah.
And it's all over the place. It's cute. People love the thing, right?
Yeah.
And they already got together with Sony for Afeela, right?
Yeah, the Afeela. And didn't they announced last year, and people were thinking, what the hell, right?
Yeah, but it's using Sony's Sony's software technology to build the experience. So because of that platform, because of that technology, because of the UI elements that they can take from that partnership, Honda might just build a better car for normal people. That's not a gaming system. That's not a PlayStation on wheels.
All right. So that was the question I wanted to ask you. So they make this announcement. So it's going to be a separate brand or car away from Afeela.
It's not a Honda. It's not a Sony. It's Afeela.
Afeela is Afeela.
Yeah.
But then Honda will make their own.
They're doing their own thing.
Oh, doing okay.
They've already
so
been
they
doing
separated Afeela from Honda as well.
Let's just put it this way: Honda built an EV already. It's called the E Up or whatever, right? It's the little tiny 2-seater that has like 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers range. Then they
teamed up with
GM.
Oh, GM is another
to
brand?
build batteries from their Ultium platform, and somehow that didn't work out. So now they are going their own route to do an EV platform that's their own. Afeela is also another thing, and they take the best of every experience together to build their own platform. So I think they learned enough that they can do it better.
Okay.
And that Afeela with Sony, because they're competent in software development and UI, they're going to take some of this and they're going to put it together, right?
Okay.
Afeela may never be. Afeela may be a supercar company. Afeela may be nothing. Afeela
it's just
may
concept.
Afeela may be AIBO.
Okay.
You know, AIBO doesn't sell a lot.
Oh, right.
But they do.
Okay.
So you might have Afeela Studios in Japan or something like that, where you look the future of EV, and then that's it, right? But the cars coming off the assembly line are Hondas.
Okay.
So I'm just speculating here, right? Our favorite car brand, Vinfast, will also be at CES. Remember last year they gave every journalist, everyone a ride in their car, and everyone said it sucked. And this is like unbiased, like they're just going to the lot, they're trying out these cars, boing, 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 bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Woo, look at that. It's going to steer off the course. Like people, there's no, every EV reviewer has no vested interest in this company, but the fact that they need EV to succeed for them to succeed. And the fact that all these EV journalists came in, drove the cars, and absolutely hated them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no apologizing for. You can apologize all you want. Oh, they're just the first year. No, actually, VinFast has been making vehicles for GM and Chevy for years. They should know how to make it to the car.
I mean, you jump in any EV, such as my wife's ID4.
Yeah, it feels like a car.
It feels like a car. It drives like a car. It's intuitive. It's just a car, right?
It doesn't bounce all over the road.
But going into this VinFast, you need to do this, and then you need to adjust this.
It's too much.
There's no start button, and then you have to do this and do this just to drive the car.
But okay, so they're bringing out a smaller version of the VF8 or VF. We call it the VF3. It's an SUV. It's going to be like the size of, I don't know. It's going to be small, right? It's going to be small. It's going to be, it looks like a mini Jeep based on the picture that I saw, right?
Okay.
But, with the close off. Actually, you know what? It looks like the cheaper version of the Ford Bronco, but smaller.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Bronco,
so if you kind of see the round eyes in the front and everything, it's small, right? It's boxy, right? So that's coming to market. They want to put that out there.
Oh my God.
Great. I think they're going to have better luck with the VinFast Dragonfly electric bike because you can screw up less with a bike. It's just going to work. Bikes are actually all over Vietnam. So I think that they're going to have a really great experience with that.
Should be.
If they bring it out.
Yeah.
It's good. It's probably going to be very, very good. But the one thing that on their poster that everyone kind of saw but wasn't sure what it looked like a Cybertruck killer. It looked like it's a silhouette. It looks like they're going to do their Cybertruck moment.
No.
So we will see. We will see what happens because it looked like a pickup truck. It looked like an Avalanche, actually, like the old Avalanche truck.
I've seen. I haven't been in one, but I've seen the technology behind the Cybertruck. Oh my God! It's like a space. It's just like a spaceship.
So this will be the cheap Cybertruck, okay? Because we already have the experience with the VF8 being horrible.
Yeah.
Not horrible. Okay, it's not that bad, but it's not that great. So if they bring out a Cybertruck killer at like half the price, I think some people will actually want it. It's basically like how we used to, as kids, we would put the biggest fart muffler on our Hondas because we couldn't afford the Prelude.
Well, yeah, the Prelude was
expensive. We couldn't afford that car. So I think this will sell to a certain market demographic, probably in parts of the US that drive more trucks. Stellantis, this is the Dodge company. This is Fiat. They're not coming.
Fiat.
They're not coming because they dropped out of CES because they're having too many union auto worker problems.
Yeah, right.
They're unions. So no one's building Dodges. No one's building Chryslers. No one's building any of that stuff. They don't want to build any Dodge Rams right now. So they're working on that. So no e-muscle at CES from these guys. But I'm sure they will have a few paper launches. And that's basically it. So that's your EV rundown. There's going to be other brands out there. Obviously, GM is probably going to show up as well too. Ford always showing up for something, but we don't know if they're going to do
There'll
any new stuff.
Kias and also
Kia's always there. Kia will be there, even though
Hyundai.
now Kia has a PR issue right now with Canada where they've held back stock. We should address the elephant in the room. I am a Kia driver, but I didn't realize this until this damning report came out, where Kia was actually holding back stock for all of the EVs to jack up the price of their EVs.
So they're artificially inflating the price?
No, they're making it so that there's not enough supply and everyone wants the demand, so they're willing to pay MSRP for everything, right? Okay. They're not jacking up the price. They're just maintaining MSRPs, even though they have tons of stock.
They're manipulating the...
they're manipulating the market.
Yeah,
See, when I bought my EV, there were tons of them on the lot, so I could deal no problem. But because they're holding them back on ships and in containers, no one sees them.
But isn't that against the trading laws?
This is what I think the investigation is trying to figure out, is whether or not this is illegal or not. We are able to vote with our wallets, and many people have done so. I know that the Ford F-150 Lightning, there's apparently 222 of these trucks still in certain provinces, and people want them, and they've been paying double the price for them.
Yeah,
but Ford's realizing very quickly is that no one's going to pay your inflated price for a pickup truck. So the prices have been coming down.
Yeah,
tons. In fact, you can actually buy one of those $110,000 trucks in certain provinces for like 60 grand. You just have to go out there, fly out there and drive it home. Right? So it's going to be an interesting time for EVs at CES, and we're going to see a lot of that play out, especially electric bikes. I can't wait for Vinfast to go fighting in that department.
Longer range, bumpy ride.
Longer range, bumpy ride. Vinfast. It's not that bad. Okay, anyway, I think we should shut this down.
Yeah, so I think that's it. So on that note, we're going to be saying we're glad that we're saved, Mark saved from CES of 2024.
And all those expensive hotel prices. Oh my God.
Yeah, and running around all those different hotels.
Like running.
Yeah, it's a pain. If they centralized everything into one big convention center, great, but it's different hotels here. You spend literally half your time just traveling around.
Don't get me wrong, I like to run for fitness, but I don't like to run like this.
No. So it's another years of press releases, I should say, and not a lot of innovative kind of products, to be honest. But either case, let's think what we think of the CES 2024 in our next show, because we're going to do a roundup or kind of
our best and worst of CES 2024.
It's a kind of look back, because this is more of a pre-show kind of
because we don't have all the press releases quite yet. People are still launching stuff at the show, even during the show. So
if you want the guys to actually visit CES, tell us what you think of the show in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that for sure.
And what really excited you and so on. So, okay. Well, on that note, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because this is a YouTube exclusive, YouTube only exclusive.
Yes.
And by clicking on that notification, you get all our latest shows on the Wednesday, each and every Wednesday at noon.
That's right. And if you're on Google Podcasts, we're not there, because we're on YouTube. And because a Google Podcast is dying in 2024, they're going to take it off the market. You're going to need to change your podcast listening platform, and that's going to be YouTube Music, which we're already on. So you can, if you want an audio-only version of our podcast, if you're subscribed to YouTube Music, we're actually on there already.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Oh, okay.
Now you know.
Now you know.
So there we go. And until next week, we are going to be taking some fitness things to teach you how to. This might be the episode after the CES roundup, but we've got some ideas for you to help you achieve your fitness goals through tech. And it's not what you think. So make sure that you stay tuned for that show. Until next time,
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.